Yeah, well, by the way, just a minute, Kevin. By the way, whoever told you changing clothes in a phone booth was easy, it's not. Okay, it's not the thing. And please, try not to call me at the office anymore. Okay, I have stuff I got to do. All right, thanks. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to episode 2. Very, very exciting, because episode 1 was sort of off the charts fun, and we're really looking forward to episode 2 of the 411, fueled by Gales Gas Bars Limited, powered by WeeStreem. We'll tell you more about both those organizations as the show goes on, hosted by moi, Sterry of Sterry Voice Services, and also we're going to show you the place where we have our brand new studio location. This is episode 2 in the new location, and it's just a great spot. We're going to be sitting right in the window here on St. Paul Street in St. Catharines. A bunch of things happened over the weekend that we're going to be talking about. And also, yes, we want to thank our partner Nick at Niagara 411, because there was a lot of activity on that site over the weekend. And we're going to get, I hope, some input from you into that as well. If you were around, the gorge was busy again. We had helicopters landing in the middle of Niagara Falls. We had people found, people missing. A lot of things went on, and we'll touch on those as we go by in the next 90 minutes or so. So welcome to the 411, episode 2, fueled by Gales, and we are now going into Fiddler's poorhouse to do this show. Come on along. Just going to get set up here in our lovely open air window at Fiddler's Poorhouse. Kevin is going to do, he's going to do the duty of helping getting me mic'd up here, because I'm technologically challenged, you see. And plus, this is really cool because it makes me feel important. I'm not at all, but it makes me feel that way. And really, feelings are what everything is about. So, Kevin, thank you for that, for making me feel like the star that I'm not. And I guess I should. Can I stop playing Jack Nicholson now? Take those off. Oh, it's so bright. Okay. So again, welcome to the 411. This is a weekly show that is brought to you by Gales Gas Bars Limited, and we're going to be telling you a lot about that. Jessica Friesen, CEO, climbed on board with us for a few weeks to see how things went, and right now we are just pleased as punch, or tickled pink, as you were. Pick an expression. We're quite pleased with how things went in episode 1. Problem now, Kevin Jack of WeeStreem Niagara. We have to follow up on a very successful premiere program. What did we have? Almost 21,000 views for episode 1?
Yeah, I think so, Lee. I think we're up around, we're north of 20,000. So yeah. Thank you very much, Niagara. You must like the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. And before we go any further, we would like to go through a slight orientation, just a quick one, as to how you can participate. Now, the participation is definitely whatever you want to bring to it. You can comment on stuff that we are already talking about, something that's happened over the weekend that you saw on Niagara 411, or that you experienced yourself. A lot of things happened in and around Niagara in the last few days, or in the past week, as a matter of fact, since we did our last show. And we're a busy place now. That we're also into phase 2. We're going to be talking about something about being in phase 2. What have you noticed? What does your phase 2 of COVID recovery look like? It sure looked busy and crowded in Niagara Falls because there's this big city that you might have heard of called Toronto. It's just a little ways down the highway, or up the highway, I guess, and it's not in phase 2 yet. And metropolitan Toronto has over upwards of 5 million or so when you take in all the outlands areas around the city, and I think a lot of them were coming to Niagara because, of course, we opened up, and I think people were thinking we're in like phase 10. There were a lot of big gatherings over the weekend, so I'm not really sure how this whole thing is going to work. But nevertheless, things like that we'd love to talk to you about. We are going to be reviewing some stories from last week and hopefully bring those full circle. Some things that happened over the weekend as well. Please keep in mind, as you can see this lovely sunshine coming in the window here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, the fact that it is very, very hot. So take that into consideration with everything you do today. There's a heat warning in place for Niagara. You can see the weather graphic right up in the corner of your screen. It's going to get hotter today before it gets cooler by about Wednesday, and we could get a thunderstorm or two later on today, etc. But I guess the main thing is keep in mind that it is very, very hot, not just for you but for others, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Kevin wanted to touch on something we talked about last week, and I thought we'd start out with a happy story. Ashton Carter, you may remember us talking about Ashton on last Monday's program. He had been missing since, the previous Wednesday, I think. He'd been missing for quite a number of days, and we were a little bit concerned for Ashton, frankly, because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days is, I have to count on my fingers, I'm getting older. But 5 days, all kidding aside, is a long time for a young man to be missing, for anybody for that matter. Well, it all had a happy ending because after the show, and we're not far be it from us to claim any credit for this, but if we played some small part into bringing some awareness to the story, we're very pleased to have done so. Ashton Carter was found safe and well, and Kevin, what was it, 9-10 o'clock last Monday evening?
Yeah, right in around there, Lee.
Yeah, so that's just terrific, and that's the ending we were hoping for. While we are on missing and or found people, places, or things, there is a young man went missing in St. Catharines, and I believe it was yesterday morning. His name is Tyler Vanderlee. He's 17 years old. He is from the city of St. Catharines. He was last seen, I believe they said, in the St. Paul Court Street area, if I am not mistaken. 5'5", 110 pounds. Yeah, St. Paul and Court Street, about 8:40 on Saturday night was the last he was seen and reported missing as of Sunday morning. Long brown hair and a ponytail, last seen wearing button-up black shirt and jeans. Once again, we hope for a positive and happy ending to this one. So Tyler Vanderlee, we do not have a picture so far, Kevin, that I'm aware of Tyler.
No, I'll check the comments. In the police report, they mentioned that at that time they do not have a photo of Tyler.
Because that certainly goes a long way to help find some of these folks. So, Tyler, if you...
Here we go. This is in the comment.
Ah, good. Excellent. Good find, Kevin. There's Tyler right there. The long brown hair, he might have had it in a ponytail this time, 17 years old, from St. Catharines. Last seen 8:40 Saturday night in the St. Paul and Court Street areas of downtown St.
Now,
Catharines.
it should be noted, Lee, and it's in the comments, that he was reported missing in 2017 and 2019 as well. So this may be part of the behavior pattern, but that, of course, is why his photo is titled Police Locate Missing Teen. So this is an old photo from 2017. So his appearance may have changed slightly, but that's him.
Thank you. Now, there is a gentleman that is still missing, as we understand it at this hour, and I also reported through Nick and his folks on Niagara 411. Albert, and I apologize if I mispronounce the name. I say I've got Makuchi or Masucci Albert, declared missing on Sunday.
Now, Lee,
found safe.
Yeah, he has been found. Okay, wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So that's another good news story. So we have two found, one young man missing. We also had a not nearly falling into the same category of importance, but these are the kinds of things that happen on Niagara 411, and no story is really too big or too small for us to be involved with. And if you have one of those stories, by all means join us. There was a wallet found, and it's going to be turned in to the St. Catharines police station. So if you lost a wallet, you can maybe find it there. Some other things we can dig into a little bit more in depth. Parcels are still being stolen off porches. This story came out of Welland over the weekend. The rescue teams continue to be very busy around Niagara. There is a follow-up story about the Morning Star Mill that we're going to be talking about in the next few minutes or so. One of those off-the-charts high-speed motor car races happened here in Niagara, and not a very happy ending there. But again, we'll fill you in a little bit more about that high-speed chase. A woman, unfortunately, was critically, mortally injured, as a matter of fact, in an altercation hit by a vehicle in Beaver Dams and Lundy's Lane area in Niagara Falls. We're working on the Burgoyne Bridge once again. We'll be talking about the whys and wherefores of that. Homelessness Rally in Niagara Falls. Also, it was a big day in Niagara Falls, and this is Kevin's time to shine when we get to that in just a few minutes, is the opening of the Pride Crosswalk happened in Niagara Falls. And when you talk about modern media versus traditional media, modern public relations versus old school public relations, new styles of advertising and getting your message out versus the tried and true and so-called traditional styles of getting that message out. Some of the numbers that Kevin and I were kicking around earlier are astounding, and you can draw your own conclusions from this, and we'll get to those numbers in a bit, because Kevin's not blowing his own horn on this one. I am, because I find the numbers fascinating. This is I'm going to digress for a moment, but this whole thing that we're doing right now, this live streaming of what would in normal times be called a television show, and it is a TV show. It's on your TV, it's a show. But unlike so many shows today, this truly is live. People will tell you they're doing a live show, but they're really not. The only late night host that really tells you that they're doing it properly is Stephen Colbert, and they say live on tape from the Ed Sullivan Theatre. All those shows are live on tape, every one of them. The Tonight Show, Kimmel, all of them are live on tape. None of them are actually live. This one, on the other hand, is. And it brings with it its own challenges, but it also brings with it its own charms. We can talk about things that are happening in Niagara to you, around you, and by you in real time and communicate instantly. If, God forbid, there is something happening that you need to know about to keep you or your family safe, or to keep your neighbors safe, or to help the police do their job, or the fire department to do their job, or the EMTs, or the frontline workers, you pick anything. Construction work, it doesn't matter what it is. If there is something that people need to know, this is the place they can know it in real time. You don't have to wait till noon, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or whatever. So that's what got me on this little bit of a rant, is the numbers that Kevin's going to give us in just a little bit about around the public relations exercise that was the opening of the Pride Crosswalk in Niagara Falls. Okay, so we'll get to that. One of the things I do want to do right off the bat is have Kevin explain to you how this does work. This is a TV show. It does have picture, it does have sound, it is live, which is different, but the other different thing is you can participate and make this interactive. That's really the charm of how this whole thing works, Kev. So walk us through step by step how this happens.
It's so easy to do, Lee, and we would love for the people of Niagara to embrace the program and come on and be the star of the show and tell their stories. And all you need to do is click on the link that is in the show description. It's a Zoom link, and everybody's done virtual meetings. Chances are you have the Zoom app either installed on your laptop, your desktop, or your phone. If you don't, download it. It's not malicious. There's nothing to fear. And you click on that link, the Zoom app will open up, and next thing you know, we'll put you on live with Lee here on the 411 Fueled by Gale's Gas Bars. It really is that easy. If you already have the Zoom app, you can just punch in our room. It's 905-411-0411. How appropriate. 905-411-0411. Punch that in the Zoom app, and then we'll see you in the green room. We'll make sure that your camera's ready to go, your lighting's good, all that stuff, and then we'll throw you on live with Lee, and next thing you know, you're chatting with the man, and you're sharing your story, your perspective with everybody in Niagara. We really want to try and kind of utilize that. It really separates this program from any other form of media, that you can come on at any time and share your story, share your perspective. So please, I encourage you to do that, and just try it out for yourself. Just hop on. You got nothing to lose, and Lee is going to handle you with kid gloves. So never fear.
As sanitized kid gloves. And one of the things that you can liken it to is pretty much everybody by now is familiar with news talk radio programs. You call, you put you on hold, then they put you on the air live with a host. It's exactly the same here. You call, you're put on hold, only it's a visual hold. You can see everything that's going on. And then when it's time to go on, poof, you're on the air to say your piece or make your pitch or whatever it is that is turning your crank that day.
Now, Lee, of course, another way that people can get involved with the program is just come down on St. Paul Street. You see, I mean, this is a live show Mondays from 10 a.m. until about 11:30. All you have to do is walk by, give us a shout out, say hi to Lee, say hi to myself, say hi to your mom, whatever you want to do. But of course, that would be the other way. And now that we're into phase 2, I guess, we can interact with people a little more, maybe.
Yeah. And the 411, fueled by Gale's Gas Bars Limited, and powered by WeeStream, hosted by moi, supported by Niagara 411 to a great degree, and of course this beautiful facility provided to us by Dave McParian at Fiddler's Pour House. Kevin, before we, I've got just a bunch of things swirling here, but while we're talking about the Pour House, we are in Fiddler's Pour House. We're into phase 2. I saw people all over Niagara. I was in Niagara Falls, I was in Chippewa, I know Chippewa's Niagara Falls, but I still think of it as Chippewa, sorry. I was in St. Catharines, Niagara-on-the-Lake. There were people enjoying themselves with their friends and family, etc., on patios. Were they all socially distanced? I don't know. I couldn't tell, and I didn't want to presume to go in and measure them, but, there were people out there having a nice time getting together. When we were talking to Dave this morning, he was talking about something that was rumored to have been happening in St. Catharines starting this weekend. And we haven't been able to find any verification for that on any of the city sites, have we?
No, we've been searching and get to the crux of it.
Well, the crux of it being that the city has planned to shut down St. Paul Street starting Friday late afternoon, early evening, I guess. What is it, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that, until Sunday. For, I'm assuming, to create a mall-type atmosphere of weekenders. So, and on the surface, I can kind of wrap my head around it, because it's attempting to rejuvenate the downtown and drive people down there because of the COVID, and start to get people in the habit again of coming to a downtown core, and I get that. But from a Friday to Sunday, and how many weeks is it going to be done? Do they know? Do we know? We don't really know anything. But that's, if you know something, you run a business in St. Catharines, or you're part of city council, or whoever it is, and you're watching my mug right now, If you could perhaps get in touch with us, click on the link on the post, or call that Zoom number 905-411-0411, and come on and explain to us exactly what's happening, because I'm sure that I got something not quite accurate, because we don't have a lot of information to draw on. It's a lot of work for merchants and restaurants, etc., to set up in the street for a day and a half and then to tear it down and to put it back. So anyway, we're just a little confused about exactly what is supposed to be happening starting this weekend, and we could have everything entirely wrong, as a matter of fact.
Now, Lee, here's a picture from my weekend, and I got to do this weekend.
There you go.
Boy, did it taste good.
Happy Father's Day. You got a nice haircut going on there, too.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
We took it right down to the wood.
Yeah, so did I, which is, again, why I'm wearing the hat. Well, first of all, hats
take off my Gales hat here.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Also neat around the back, though, I noticed, too. You got that nice nice razor look. Yeah. You can leave here and go join the armed forces or something with that haircut. So yeah, I did too. What's such a pleasure. You know, you're sort of tempted to go into the person that does your hair and say, just cut it all off. I'm just tired of it. Just get rid of it. But well, better minds prevailed.
Now, Lee, where do you want to start today with some of the news from the last week?
Yeah.
I've got the stolen items off the porch in Welland.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that. Then I want to go to the Pride crosswalk and talk about those numbers I was promising. Yeah, we had a story up early. We had a picture of a guy, reports of packages being stolen in Welland. So please ensure to keep a close eye on packages. Check security camera footage if possible, and report anything suspicious to police. Of course, Bridlewood Drive area. Also, there's a picture right there of apparently one of these perpetrators and taking somebody's intended package. I just can't understand the boldness of these people. One of the comments on this page, on this post thread, also made mention of the fact that Clare Avenue in Welland was just sort of raided. One whole side of the street was raided one day, and that kind of got my attention because my cousin many years ago lived on Clare Avenue in Welland, so I know that area pretty well.
Now, Lee, something I'm noticing in the photo, you see the perpetrator here is actually wearing a mask.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that.
He'll steal your delivery from your front porch, but he will not give you coronavirus.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, you know, people are considerate, I suppose, in crime and love and war, as they say. Check out, while you're looking at this scroll, check out the weather at the top. I remind you, it is going to be super, super, super hot today. Humidex will be up around 37, 38 degrees. Humid throughout the course of the day. And so just be aware of that. Here we are in the city of Niagara Falls. This was Thursday, Kev?
Yeah, Thursday morning, 10 a.m.
All right. So tell us what we're watching here. I want you to walk through what we're doing here, and then we're going to talk some numbers for people that if you ever wanted to learn something about how this social media thing can work, it's a prime example of it. So fill us in on the event.
Yeah, so WeeStreem was brought in. Actually, we volunteered our time to the city of Niagara Falls. We already do work for the city of Niagara Falls. We've always thought it's been a good fit for any ribbon cuttings or installations like this for the Pride sidewalk, which is right outside of City Hall. So WeeStreem volunteered our time to make it a virtual unveiling. And boy, oh boy, to give you an idea, this video in here. Well, you know what, Lee? Let's play some of the video, and I'll also play some of the audio and talk over it here. This has 60,000 views, almost 70,000 views. Let me just get the
That, of
volume
course,
up here.
Mayor Jim Diodati, as you can see on the
Surfaces are a challenge as it is.
screen.
We want it to be right next to City Hall.
And look at the
right
number
next
of
to one
people that
our
are
newest
around.
parkettes, and in a place
Yeah, to
that's
give you an idea, Lee, so there were probably about 25 or 30
That's the
people
GO
there in
station
person,
down the street.
which I think makes sense given
I can see
COVID and
the
all
building
that.
right over there.
But
Our
we're
innovation
just shy of
is taking off.
70,000
This is
views
gonna be
online,
the most
and
exciting part
CHCH
of
TV did an
downtown
entire news
Yeah.
report using this footage. No additional footage, just the footage from the live stream.
And this is
When you
made
talk
with
about being a business or being a
Thorold
municipality and
plastic,
getting the word out and
plastic.
being
It's
accessible,
gonna be resilient
this year is
to
proof
the
in the pudding.
challenge of
With the live
transportation,
stream,
traffic,
70,000
weather,
views.
and of course
Without the
Canadian
live
winter.
stream, 30 views, because there were only 25 or 30 people there in person. It's a really powerful tool.
And having been in traditional media for 40 plus years, the question that we as broadcasters and business operators of media companies get asked for our entire careers by people that potentially would spend money with us for advertising, because that's how traditional media is supported, of course, and most media, in social media included. That's the question. How do we know it's working? How can we measure it? Well, when it comes to day-to-day television viewing, newspaper reading, radio listening, the standard ways that you are familiar with receiving your information and your news and your entertainment, it's almost always impossible at that minute. There are ways that these various mediums are rated, but at that minute, when you ask, how do I know it's going to work? Prove to me that it works. That's a very hard question to answer. Well, here, with the way the measurements happen now, with the way the numbers are crunched, with the kind of data that is gathered, it is very, very simple to ask that question. To be perfectly honest, to talk about what's behind the curtain for a moment, when we were speaking with Jessica Friesen, CEO of Gales Gas Bars Limited, there's always a hesitance. Well, what is it? Is it gonna work? How does it work? Et cetera, et cetera. So we explained it as best we could, and God bless them. They took a flyer with us, and here we are. And last week we ran up. We're sitting on last week's show at a little over 20,000 views. And Kevin, who just showed you a scene in Niagara Falls with a big moment for the mayor of Niagara Falls. He was hoping to get a lot of juice out of this, meaning promotion and PR, and 25 or 30 people showed up on site. But 70,000 people actually showed up on site, saw that, heard the message, and that's proof. That's really where the rubber hits the road, and it's so exciting because that one had nothing to do with me. It's all this kind of technology that we are using, and we're using WeeStream's technology on Live Stream Niagara, and along with 411 to bring this kind of communication platform to you and with you, and it's really exciting. Old dog new tricks thing. I'm learning stuff as we go all the way along. So Kevin, kudos to you for that. And here's a guy that took a flyer and volunteered to do something. His own time, his own money, his own expense, his own travel, the whole kit and caboodle. And sometimes you got to give something to get something. And there's a fine message for our youth as well. You think you can do a great job? Go out and volunteer for work one day.
Yeah. No coincidence either, Lee, that it was for the unveiling of the Pride Sidewalk. Equality is something that I believe in, that WeeStream believes in. It's not just rhetoric. We've been giving back to the community for many years, and there's just a tangible example. Like you said, is this thing really working? 70,000 views, and you get 2.5 minutes on CHCH. I'd say live streaming in Niagara with WeeStream is a very powerful tool.
Yeah, and Dave seems happy with the whole thing at Fiddlers, and anyway, I suppose we're in this category of blowing our own horn, but to be honest, it's kind of exciting to watch something new morph into something or grow into something, and to be perfectly honest, you're not really 100% sure where it's going to go on any given day. It could it could go in any direction. It's not like we come in and we record something and play it back 47 times over the course of a week because we don't have any other programming to do. It's live, and and you can, if you miss it, you can access it and after the fact, and that's cool too. Now I was just going to find.
Okay, you know what? I want to show people the street view, Lee. So
okay,
buy a couple minutes, and I'll show people here. There we are, live on St. Paul Street. That's looking west down. You know, just around that bend is going to be 1 St. Paul, and then beyond that, the Burgoyne Bridge. You know, just to the left there, you see the walkway heading across to the Meridian Center. So, you know, here we are live in downtown St. Catharines, and nothing could be more live than, you know, the cars driving by and everybody driving by and.
Okay, so I'm just gonna share mine, if I can. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. And so as many likes and shares as you can provide for us, as well, you're providing for Niagara. And again, I hearken back to that young man, Ashton Carter, who was found about 9 or 10 o'clock last Monday night. And we were chatting about him, and we were just so thrilled that he was found well.
Of course, the truck had to back up too, eh?
Yeah. We all want to be safe, and this is how trucks keep us safe, by that annoying beep that keeps going off. So that's it's irritating you, but it's keeping you safe. Thank you, sir, for stopping by. And this is what's great when you're doing live media. You just never know. Okay, one of the other pretty neat videos that you saw over the weekend, perhaps, and if not, you're going to see it right now, is it's not every day that you see and I think they're Sikorskis, aren't they? Those yellow or orange. I'm wearing orange in honor of the rescue people. Helicopters that come out under emergency situations. Well, there was a pretty cool piece of video online over the weekend. Nick had it on 411 on Niagara 411 of this helicopter, and it actually looked like it was landing in somebody's backyard. In actual fact, it was landing in a helipad at a fire hall on Morrison in Niagara Falls, but it just looks like it's going to plop itself down in John Smith's backyard. It's so cool. And it's a little hot here too, by the way. Did I mention it's hot today?
I have 31, Lee.
Feels like 101. Okay. No, it feels more like 38 or 39. I have to be careful what you say, or we'll be charged with delivering fake news. There's a phrase I could do without. Okay.
You want to get to Morning Star Mill, perhaps?
Let's do that one.
That's affecting a lot of people, and apparently there were still people there this weekend. Just you know, in talking to people around the pool
Hundreds
yesterday,
of cars, I heard,
saying they drove by and they were just parking further down the road. There was a security guard there, but
so this latest move stemmed from a topic we were also talking about in the last show. Was there was a rescue? Basically, how this whole thing started last week. There was a rescue at Morning Star Mill down in the gully, down in the ravine, and so then that started the great big debate as to what do we do? Do we still allow people to go down there? Do we put better signage up there? Do we block off one side of the ravine and keep the other one open? Do we just close the whole thing altogether? And you know, the what ifs went on and on and on. Well, I guess we know what they're going to do. They closed it. And for how long? Don't know. For what reason? Obvious. But what will it look like when it comes back? Another thing Kevin and I were chatting about off air today was, are they going to reinforce it? Are they going to retool it, rebuild it, re-signage it, repath it, block things off? We don't know. Have heard nothing about it. But for now, the Morning Star Mill is is closed. Now, Kevin, does that mean all of the grounds around that area, like you can't walk around the area at all? Do we know exactly what closures are in place?
My assumption is it's the parking lot, and therefore access to the Morningstar Mill and any of the trails from that access point. But it meanders and it gets into the lowlands, and there are other ways to access it. And this weekend, people were finding those other ways. The city of Thorold, it's interesting, the road is in Thorold, but Morningstar Mill is in St. Catharines. The city of Thorold did what they could. They put up no parking signs. They had the sawhorses there for weeks. People would just move the sawhorses and park in between them.
Wow.
People were saying this weekend that cars were parked further down Cataract, further down to Kew, and just accessing it even though they knew that Morningstar Mill was closed. And it's a combination of COVID, an influx of people, the inability to maintain social distancing, and then the increase in rescues. Thankfully, this weekend, I want to say that there were no real rescues, but there was one late last week with the kayakers at the mouth of the Niagara River.
Yeah, that was an odd. I say maybe odd isn't the right word. It seemed to be a little bit complicated because the two people were in the kayaks. The OPP rescue unit was called, correct, or was it the RCMP?
The RCMP, I think, was on site, although that kind of surprises me. They said they heard calls.
Okay. Now, there was just a bystander, a gentleman, just a guy, who went in and he got out one of the kayakers, or ended up getting both of them out. Then with the help of the law enforcement and the rescue people as well, they managed to get these people to shore anyway, which is the good news.
If you can read that, I mean, the way it's written is a harrowing story.
It is, two people after their kayaks had overturned. And this was in the Niagara-on-the-Lake area, Queenston Sand Docks, in the early afternoon while conducting marine and land patrols. Okay, so they were on patrol, right, in the lower Niagara River. RCMP officer noticed the kayaker in distress. Officer heard screams for help. A kayak had overturned. A woman was in the fast-flowing waters, and it doesn't look. We had somebody in a comment made a very accurate statement on this. Is the fact that if you're standing at that spot, the river doesn't really look like it's moving that fast, but it is. The current there is super, super strong. So she was clinging to a fallen tree, just like in the movies. Was in extreme distress. A male was also seen in the water, but he was pretty close to the shore. So the RCMP officer waded into the fast current to where the woman was, pulled her out of the water. And then this fellow that was there, he went back in to get the kayaks, right? So he saved the kayaks as well. So Niagarans helping Niagarans, or maybe they were from out of town, I'm not sure. Sure had a lot of out-of-towners downtown. Did you see some of the shots of Niagara over the weekend? There were beaches all over the place full of people as well. So, are we in phase 2? Are we in phase 22? I'm not really sure. I know what the governments think we are in, but I'm not so sure that the people are cooperating with what we're in, because they don't look terribly concerned, do they, Kevin?
No. And this social circle, your bubble thing it's very confusing.
I'm forever blowing bubbles.
Yeah.
I
think they know that it's confusing and it's a little difficult. How many circles can I be in? I guess I can only be in one circle, but then what if Bill and Nancy come over?
Yeah, what if I want a new bubble?
Right. So
can I fire somebody from the bubble and bring in some more bubblies? I don't know.
I've only got 8 in my bubble, so I'm recruiting. Looking for 2 more.
Is this another thing? Is this like Valentine's Day? You're nobody till you're somebody's bubble? I mean, do you have I'm not in her bubble. She doesn't let me in her bubble. She's in her bubble, but I can't be in them. It's another form of selective friendships. It's like, I didn't get a Valentine. I didn't get a friend request on Facebook. I'm not in the bubble. The things we talk about. Who knew?
I didn't even know I had a bubble.
No, who knew we'd have a bubble? See, now, that old story of the boy in the bubble from many, many years ago, he feels at home now. He's got his very own bubble.
Bringing this for you here, Lee, because down the road I came across the Burgoyne Bridge today.
Yeah.
And once again, it was down to one lane, and that was just a little after 7 a.m. So work is continuing on the suicide prevention barriers.
Yes.
On.
Yeah, they're calling them picket barriers.
Okay, yeah, they do kind of look like that.
Yeah, and they're what, about 3 meters long, something like that. And they point out, they angle outward at, I don't know, 30-degree angle or something like that, which would make them very difficult, I assume, to climb either way. But I suppose if you look at the picture of the Burgoyne Bridge, they are doing it in what seems to be an aesthetically pleasing way. It's not super ugly. Like I was years and years ago. I don't even know if you remember when the Garden City Skyway had see-through railings at the all the way along. It was a beautiful view, and it was kind of the same as the Burlington Skyway. You could, when they first put in the St. Catharines Garden City Skyway, you could drive over and have a beautiful view of the canal and the surrounding areas, etc., because you could see through the railings. And for obvious reasons, things have to change, and now you've got those ugly cement barriers all the way along, and you can't see anything along the Garden City Skyway, and we know why, but it's unfortunate that sometimes the aesthetics have to go by the wayside. But it seems like they're doing a fairly decent job of this look at Burgoyne Bridge. I hope so, because it's a very pretty bridge. I know we spent a whole lot of money for it, but it's a very attractive bridge, and hopefully the appearance of it is not ruined in any way. It doesn't look like it's going to be. Something else that happened in Niagara Falls that was peaceful, nice to hear about peaceful gatherings and rallies happening, is the Homelessness Rally that took place. And it's a big topic everywhere, but here in Niagara is no exception. So many different elements and dynamics are in the homeless sector. If you were taking part in this, there's a photo of some of the peaceful demonstrators there, and can tell us what your message truly is. We understand the message to fight homelessness is very clear. The solution is not very clear. The solution is very complicated. It involves pretty much all 3 levels of government. It involves, in a lot of cases, that's almost impossible to deal with, sometimes element of mental illness that comes into play, and social issues as well. It's a multi-headed monster. It's a multi-faceted conversation, and just throwing money at it is, although they certainly need money. Money never hurts. But it's not the be-all and end-all. It's not the only solution. And some of the people that we're trying to help not be homeless would be back out there on their own anyway. And I don't mean that in a mean-spirited way at all. It's just that it's a lifestyle that some people choose, and that's what they know, and that's what they're comfortable with. It's sometimes hard to help people because sometimes they resist being helped. For those that need the help, it's housing, affordable housing. You hear this at around election times a lot, and there's so many organizations working around Niagara to help lobby for more affordable housing so that people can get back on their feet and have a place to live if indeed they want one and need one. And then there's the other supports that go around that. So it's a big issue. If you're involved with that movement at all, give us a shout, would you? You can give us a Zoom call at 905-411-0411, or just click on the link on the post of this program that is streaming right now on Livestream Niagara. And the same thing will occur. You'll be here, and you can talk to us with your perspective on homelessness here, and especially if you were involved in the rally over the weekend, because it'd be great to talk to you.
Now, Lee, on the weekend, I was in London, Ontario, and sadly, a great cousin of ours in the Jack family had passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So, rest in peace, cousin Nancy. She's a great lady, lived to 98. While at the viewing, she had photos of her youth, and a lot of them were taken at Niagara Falls. I took photos of them, and just while we're on the topic, figured I would share them with you because it is an interesting kind of peek into yesteryear, so to speak. So here's a photo here. This would be circa 1944, I think.
Okay.
And there's just a great panoramic of the American Falls and the Horseshoe Falls. There you go, September 2nd to the 4th.
1945.
1945.
Wow.
There's the Rainbow Bridge.
Fascinating. I never get tired of looking. I've seen pictures like this for on and off my entire life, and I never, ever, ever get tired of looking at them. It's another shot of the American Falls there.
And that's from Oaks Garden.
Right, yeah.
So it's, Oaks Garden, while it remains the same, it's obviously changed from 1945 because it doesn't look exactly like that anymore.
No, that is for sure.
And one thing that's interesting, Lee, and we talk about the prevention barriers going up at Burgoyne Bridge.
Right.
It appears as though, the barriers right at the brink of the falls have not changed since 1945. I mean, you put some color into this photo, it could have been taken this weekend. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So that's my Aunt Nancy there, or sorry, Cousin Nancy on the right, but she's sitting on the left. Back in 1945.
Wow. Well, rest in peace.
There you go. That's a Table Rock House.
And the scenic tunnels. Gee whiz. Ha! That's great, Kevin. I'm glad you did that.
And here's one here. So here's Maid of the Mist from back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, just to go know how far we've come, right? Just in the technology of the boats themselves. And then this one here, I was wondering, Lee, and I was hoping that somebody could chime in on this. Because I do not believe here, what does it say? I cut off the bottom. I was wondering if this was the steamship that used to travel between Buffalo and, is it Fort Erie or Port Colborne?
It's a lake steamer. This would have been one of the only forms of transportation for people that wanted to go to various ports of calls along the lake in Niagara. And it would stop, I don't know the number of stops, but it would stop at all kinds of places on the lake. And as a matter of fact, there's a gentleman that I know, and I think I'm going to get him on the program perhaps for next week. Now that we have all kinds of time to sit and wait for ships in the Welland Canal. He worked the boats in the Welland Canal for many, many years. He is one of the great ocean-going, lake-going ship authorities on Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, the Welland Canal, and his name is Clayton Healy. And Clayton, sorry to take your name in vain, but it's all a good thing. And just fascinating knowledge of the canal and the lakes and ships, just like this, the ocean or the steamships that were lake trawlers.
I seem to remember, Lee, people telling us stories. Was there not a big crystal ballroom in Port Colborne or Crystal Beach?
Yes.
And there would be a steamliner that would take passengers from Buffalo into the Crystal Palace, into Crystal Beach, and then return them. And I'm wondering if this steamer here was actually that one.
It could actually have been, yeah.
People talk about it being like a party atmosphere on the boat.
Yeah. Well, it was. It was like a floating hotel.
Yeah.
And there and in Crystal Beach, I do remember hearing about that fancy dance ballroom. People used to go there and dance.
These photos from 1945, though.
And we all know what was going on in 1945. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's awesome. We are starting to get into the heat of the day, and I wanted to show you a chart, but we'll do that in a minute. I do want to give a nod to our title sponsor, Gales Gas Bars Limited, and thank Jessica, CEO, for supporting this program. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about right now. The reason we approached Jessica and Gales Gas is because their mission and mandate has always been what ours is, and they're going to continue theirs as well, and that is supporting Niagara. They have been fueling Niagara for many years and will be fueling Niagara for the next 50 and beyond. They support many charities and groups in Niagara. Jessica herself, congratulations, if we didn't mention this last week, was appointed to the board of the Niagara Parks Commission, which I think is an absolutely fabulous addition to that august body that is charged with looking after our Niagara Parks area. And there's so much, and we are in Niagara, by Niagara, for Niagara. That's what this program is all about. So it's a perfect fit, in my humble opinion. And they give some things back to you. The Gales Rewards program is something that you should look in on. You can go to gales.ca, www. Do you still need W's? I don't think you do anymore, do you? It's just, I mean, it's part of the thing, but anyway, 3ws.gales.ca, and all of the details for the many benefits that you can get from being a Gales Rewards member are right there. Okay, they can be used at Gales Gas Bar or any Bob's Fast and Fresh convenience location. So once again, thanks for being a part of the show and taking a leap of faith with us. We're having a blast, and hope you are too. Now, can we get to that, I knew the graphic, the heat graphic. Have you got that handy, Kev? I know we talk about this till you're probably sick of hearing it, but the only reason we do keep talking about it, unfortunately, is because it keeps happening. And it's sad that it keeps happening. But courtesy of Niagara 411, this chart appeared over the weekend, and this will just graphically, pardon the pun, indicate to you what happens in a hot car. And today is going to be one of the hottest days so far of the year. So you've got an outside temperature of, now these are Fahrenheit numbers, obviously. So you got an outside temperature of about 85 degrees. So it's going to be today between 85 and 90. That's what it's going to feel like when we get the humidity factored in, and the actual temperature is going to be 31 degrees. And so let's call it 85. So then 10 minutes in a car, you're at 104 Fahrenheit, okay? In another 10 minutes, it's 119 degrees. And it'll increase geometrically from there. There is and this goes to even if you have believed you have done your duty to leave the window open a crack, that really accomplishes almost nothing, unfortunately. So just in this weather, I love to take my dog with me when I go in the car. She just loves it, and she's so good. She just sit there and stick her head out the window, and I could leave the car in the parking lot and leave the window down, and she sticks her, but I won't take her in this weather. Even if I do leave all the windows down and the sunroof open and the whole 9 yards, I just don't take her. I wouldn't want to be in a fur coat in a car, even with the air conditioning on. You know what I'm saying? So being in a fur coat in the heat, even with windows open, it's not really a bargain. And do we have to say it, Kevin? Do we have to say the same thing goes for your children? Do we have to say that?
It's worth noting, I think.
I guess we do. The same thing goes for your kiddies. They can put up with the car rides and the air conditioning, etc., while you're there, but after the car is shut off, they got to be out of there. So
now let me share this here with you. I mean, speaking of hot,
Okay.
It's hot downtown, and as we moved into phase 2, people are looking for patios.
Yeah.
Fiddler's is going, I think, going to install a patio for this weekend. And here's email confirmation as to what the City of St. Catharines is doing with St. Paul Street beginning this Friday at 3 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Great spelunking there. Spelunking means exploring, by the way. It's nothing bad. Further to our newsletter, dated June 17, 2020, please be advised that St. Paul Street between William and Carlisle will be closed to vehicular traffic to accommodate restaurants and patios to open. The street will be closed on weekends beginning Friday at 3 and between Friday at 3 and Sunday at 11, and that is starting this weekend. All restaurant businesses can apply for temporary patios on the sidewalk or parking lane independent of a closure, temporary outdoor patios during COVID-19 recovery. As the City of St. Catharines begins recovery efforts in a post-COVID-19 context, processes are being enabled to allow for increased and streamlined operations of temporary outdoor patios. Anything new? Temporary patios are approved under this process. That's pretty much municipal gobbledygook. I think Dave McPerry, the fine proprietor of this establishment, said that he has about a 6 or 9 page application to be able to open the patio. And you'd think they might be able to streamline that a little bit.
Make it a little easier. But yeah, lots of red tape, but hopefully we'll see the not just the streets of St. Paul teeming this weekend, but we'll see some of the restaurants thriving.
Yeah.
They've been hit very hard during COVID, so they're going to take every opportunity they can, and kudos to the City of St. Catharines for at least closing St. Paul Street for the weekends.
Yeah, and so, and again, there are going to be the ne'er-do-well type attitudes that say, oh yeah, I got to go down there and there's no place to park. Where are we going to park? I got to park somewhere. Well, there's places to park. There are places to park. And you know what? You can spend the whole day for $5. So, there are more expensive things to do. I got to have a place to park. No parking. Okay. High-speed crash. I don't know why this just popped off the page at me, but it did. We have had a lot of stories about, there was that sad hit and run, terrible, lady died as a result of it, Beaver Dams and Lundy's Lane over the weekend.
Here, do you want to do that one first, Lee? Let's touch on that one.
Let's catch up on that one, yeah. Hit and run, motor vehicle collision, emergency crews on location, air ambulance responding, and that was one of the helicopters that was flying around, responding to the Morrison Street Fire Hall helipad, and I think I believe that's the helicopter we saw the film of earlier, Kevin.
Believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get to the sad update the night of, and then there was the update of the alleged being apprehended. But a woman, I believe in her 70s, was pronounced deceased at the scene, and it's just sad, that she's likely a Niagara resident, and there's a Niagara family just reeling with that sudden, shocking news on Saturday night.
Out for a stroll. I mean, 8:40 p.m. It's not still fairly light now.
It was the longest day of the year on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was like longest.
That's right, summer solstice, yeah.
So it was still bright at that point. Now, I don't know the circumstance of this accident, but that intersection is a little tricky when Beaver Dam kind of angles into Lundy's Lane, right at Mick and Angelo's there. Mm-hmm. If you try and, again, I don't know what happened, but that's a tricky intersection. I don't know if that played any role in it, but there it is.
Yeah. The high-speed crash that happened on the Queen Elizabeth Highway was apparently just an accident waiting to happen. We heard at first that there was a crash at the 406 overpass at the Queenie, Fort Erie bound lanes. And then there was a message, there was a comment on the page. This lady said that she had seen the two cars, and at first it sounded like there was only one car involved, and I guess it was maybe only one car that actually crashed. But there were two cars doing I don't know, call it stunting or whatever. You know what happens when they're zigging and zagging in and out of traffic, and they're stunting for the better, or racing for the lack of a better word. Yeah, there it is. My boyfriend and I saw the two cars driving like fast and furious, zipping in and out of cars. No signals. One was burgundy, the other car was black. I knew it was going to happen. We have the cars on our dash camera. Katrina, if you happen to be watching this program, we would love to see that video, and just chat with you about what you were thinking, how that was making you feel. It's there's guys that 406 is like Talladega Speedway, and that's one of the downsides of the COVID thing for sure, is the fact that people think we've got all these open and underpopulated highways, so let's put the pedal down and have some fun. Well, this is not why those highways are there. Speaking of which, something that's going to be interesting to see, Kevin, is before COVID started, we were often having conversations in different groups, whoever you are, whatever bubble you happen to travel in, about the amount of traffic flowing into Niagara. And that amount of traffic is starting to pick up again because we are in phase 2, as I mentioned before, and Toronto isn't, et cetera, et cetera. But beyond that, there is this syndrome that traffic flow experts and health experts and psychologists are all sort of talking about to try to figure out how to get around what is the exact term, vehicle overpopulation or car glut or whatever it is, because when people do start going to work like they did before, when the highways are full of commuters like they were before, there will still be a bigger fear than ever of taking public transit, and the highways will just become parking lots. And they're really concerned about that, and I wonder how they're going to handle it going in. So
now the flip side of that, Lee, and my sister is one of the corporate executives working in the big smoke across the lake. She's already been informed that she's not going back to her office until at the earliest November 1st.
Okay.
So she wonders whether or not you're going to start to see an exodus as people begin to work remotely full time, that it will take cars off the roads, it'll take people out of public transit because they're just staying home now for the days, and some people may decide to permanently move out of Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, why am I living in the GTA if I'm basically working from home? My home could be anywhere now.
Yeah.
And you might start to see, homes in Niagara be more sought after.
All those, the real estate demand for Niagara was already increasing, even for people that did have to commute to Toronto, just because of the Toronto house prices. But yeah, that's another angle. This is like that tunnel we've spoken of before. We've got the pre-COVID over here and the post-COVID over here, and we're traveling through this time warp, this black hole or whatever the heck it is, and we're not quite sure what we're going to look like when we come out the other end. I mean, there is apparently light at the end of the tunnel. It's not just an oncoming train, but it just makes one wonder where this whole trip is taking us. And that's just another example. Are the highways going to be too full, or are they going to be empty? Are they? It's a wacky situation. One of the things that happened over the weekend as well. Nobody likes false alarms less than fire departments. They get enough real calls to go to without having a false alarm. And not all false alarms are done with any malice or intent. It's just somebody calls in an alarm because they think something is on fire. And one of the stories that happened on the 401 or on the Niagara 411 on the weekend was a house fire. Somebody thought it was a kitchen fire. Something doesn't really matter. because they saw smoke coming out of the house. Okay, natural thing to do. So the firemen show up, and there's nothing going on. There's people around, but there's no fire, there's no smoke, there's just nothing happening. And it reminded me, the reason I'm telling, and which is great on one level, not so great that they had to be called to a non-call, but good that there was no fire. But it reminded me of trying to do my civic duty and coming out feeling like a dope at the end of the day. This did not happen in Niagara. It happened when we were living in a place called Curtis. You see the sign on the highway, it's pronounced Court Ice, or it's spelled Court Ice, pronounced Curtis. It's between Oshawa and Bowmanville, just off the 401. So, my wife and I are out for a walk, and there's a setback house in Feulled, and there's grapevines and veggies and stuff like that growing. So, but pouring, absolutely pouring out of one of the windows is thick black smoke. I mean, this didn't look like an overboiled weenie. It looked like thick, black, dangerous smoke. Do we call? Do we don't call? Do we call? Do we not call? What do we do? No. So I called. They said, okay, we'll be right there. And apparently, I don't know what it was, whether somebody was broiling a tire for lunch or something, I don't know, but nothing going on. Where does that smoke, where does it come from?
The way you described it, that's a different smoke. That thick, black, acrid smoke. It looks different, it smells different, and when it's pouring out of a house like that, it's flowing different.
Yeah,
like you said, than an overcooked weenie.
The 411 is live streaming even as we speak. If you're watching it, you already know that. If you want to participate in it, please do so. We've thrown a few topics out there for you to perhaps get involved with if you would like to. You can bring your own to the table if you would like to do that as well. How's Phase 2 treating you? Have you noticed Phase 2 at all, or have we jumped to Phase 32? I don't know. But a couple of ways you can do it. Livestream Niagara's link at the bottom of the post. Click on that, and you will find yourself being connected to our Zoom room, Green Room, where the ever professional Kevin Jack will make sure that you can see everything that is going on, and then we'll transfer you into our online panel, and poof, we're having a conversation. So if anything has twigged your interest over the last hour and a bit, get in touch with us, or you can, if you have that Zoom app. I downloaded it on my phone just to see if I had the technical know-how to do it, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's really easy. 905-411-0411 is the Zoom number.
Here, you know what, Lee? Let's. I'll pull it up here on my phone.
Okay.
And just show people what the app looks like. So here you go. Here's my desktop. I
there
guess
it is.
you would say.
Yeah.
This is on my phone. So there you go. I'm going to the Apple Store. I'm just going to search for Zoom. There you go.
There it is,
Search for
Zoom.
Zoom. And that's it right there.
And then you just open her up.
Zoom Cloud Meetings. You would open it up. I'm going to join a meeting, and I'm going to put in 905-411-0411.
That's how you get in.
And there you go. Now there you go. There's me right there. All right, I'm going to join this video, or I'm going to, bang, I've joined the meeting. And now, you know what? Yeah, I'll use internet audio. There you go. So now I see Lee there.
Yeah.
As you can see.
And I can hear Kevin through my
yeah, I'm just going to mute myself there.
marvel of technology here.
And what we would do is and here, Lee, I'll bring you on the way that we would bring people on.
Okay.
So here, this is me here with Lee.
Ah,
Right,
and that's what it would look like on the screen. You would be the one that is not me.
Right, exactly. So there you go. It's that easy, right? You just download the Zoom app, punch in 905-411-0411,
And Kevin does the rest.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm doing the faux pas. I should have my phone
there
horizontal
you go.
there. Look at me.
Yeah, see?
Forgetting my own best practices. So there you go. It really is that easy, okay? So we encourage people to hop in the green room and let's chat. Let's make this show interactive and let's talk to the people of Niagara. That's you. That's you. Okay.
Mentioned this last week a couple of times, is that what this really boils down to is we are a platform of stories about Niagara. Some of those stories are tragic, it is true. Some of those stories are inspiring. Some of those stories will make you laugh. Some of them will just keep you informed. We've got a bunch of changes coming up in the region as far as garbage collection and waste collection. They don't kick in till October, but they are going to be debated in Niagara Regional Council this Thursday night. So if you ever have had a reason to watch the Niagara Regional Council meetings, that might be one. We attempt to bring you an opportunity and a platform for all of those things here. And we are proudly supported by Gales Gas Bars Limited. This is the 411, fueled by Gales Gas. And we're going to be doing this for a few weeks and then perhaps expanding the product, and it all depends on you. And what I meant by stories is all of these stories are important. We've found lost dogs, we've found lost cats, and I realize that that sounds pretty mundane. But you know what? If you're the one that's lost your pet, it's not mundane at all. It's a big deal. So nothing is really too big or too small to get an honorable mention here, and if we can do our part to help out, by all means we will. Do you have a story? One of the things that struck me over the weekend were the wonderful stories and pictures I saw of people and their fathers on Facebook. It was truly heartwarming to see the fathers of people that I didn't even know, and the fathers of some that I did. And for example, Kevin showed those wonderful pictures of his aunt in Niagara Falls back in 1945. We forget, it's so easy to forget that elderly people had vibrant, active, loving, story-filled lives in their day. And it's easy to take those for granted, and it's easy to miss those stories. And if you have stories about people that you know and or love, or about yourself that you've experienced, that's what this is about too. It's not just about imparting news and information. It is that, but it's not just that. And it's been my experience, and I think Kevin's too, is that if you're doing a program like this, regardless of the medium, if people begin to tell you stories about their lives or the lives of interesting people, or even just the lives of normal everyday folks, it does something to people. It connects somehow with people, and it is one of the things that makes people feel like, here's a phrase you've heard a lot, like we really are in this together, because we all have stories that should be heard. They're not all heard, but they probably should be. So we're another avenue for that as well. There are no real boundaries other than the boundaries of good taste that we have put in place for this program. All bets are off. It's not like somebody mentioned traditional media's regulatory body to me the other day, and we don't have a regulatory body. We are not regulated. The internet is not regulated, or at least it isn't yet. That doesn't mean that we won't pull the pin in matters of poor taste, but you can bring up anything you want to bring up. And it's nice to see that our Prime Minister has nice hair again. He's looking a little shaggy.
Did he get a cut?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he did.
Let me see if I can pull up a picture of him. So you were mentioning before, Leon wanted to share this, so here you go. There's my brother-in-law.
There's the Jacks.
There's me, my brother-in-law, and my father-in-law, all enjoying Father's Day yesterday.
Nice.
And I should also give a shout-out to my mother-in-law because it was her birthday yesterday. So lots
birthday.
to celebrate on a sunny Sunday in Port Robinson.
Yeah.
And,
Did they ever fix that? Did they ever get that bridge put up that was damaged that crossed the Welland Canal into Port Robinson?
I mean, back in 77, or was it earlier? 72, 73?
Way back.
No, never. And so they've
They
got
still
the
don't have a
ferry.
bridge there?
No, still don't have a. And that's why Port Robinson, both east and west, is still somewhat quaint. So you can imagine if there was a bridge that went through there, it'd be radically different than it is right now.
Now, if you lived in Port Robinson, wouldn't you be a little PO'd, or do they like it like that?
I think they like it like that.
Because you can't get there.
It's been 40 years.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, there's no through traffic. So once you kind of head east of the 406 and you're into Port Robinson, there's one way in and one way out. And
A boat hit it or something, didn't it?
yeah, a boat just, I'll see if I can pull up the footage. I remember
I'm surprised I even remember that.
my mother-in-law was there. I think they said they heard it, right? She is born and raised in Port Robinson on the west side of the canal.
Okay.
They heard it, and everybody rushed down there, and there is some video going around. My wife's aunt is in, I'd say, the most famous footage of that. Sorry, let me throw myself on screen here. It's never been replaced. I think at the time it was, we're going to replace this, as soon as we find the funding and what have you, and it's never happened. As such, though, they do have the little ferry. I do not believe that the ferry is up and running yet for this year, but I could be wrong on that.
Is this just a pedestrian ferry?
And also cyclists.
Oh, okay.
So it's a huge cycling route. Because of that, it's so quaint and it's so cool, and there's only so many ways to get across the Welland Canal. Most of them are heavily trafficked, so if you're on two wheels, hey, let's just stop down and we'll take a cool little ferry ride. We'll take it sometimes just to get to the east side of Port Robinson. There's a little park there with a splash pad.
All right.
So we'll go on foot. It's a nice little quaint trip, and it's something that is unique to Niagara. And honestly, I don't think we as a region do a good enough job of supporting it and promoting it because it is so cool.
And you're right about a lot of things. There are so many things like that. Niagara is a wonderful place, but it's a bit complex. I mean, you got 12 plus municipalities, and all the trappings that go with it, and that's why in a post-COVID world, if you were to make a list of the number of places that you could go and see in Niagara or experience in Niagara where you've never been before, there's scads of them, all kinds of them. Like if you want to play a real interested historian type tourist in Niagara, there's lots of places to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's something you were mentioning as well, Lee, you just touched on, so figured I'd bring it up to remind everybody that curbside collection is changing on October the 19th.
Yeah. So, garbage every other week, and organics, etc., every week still, I think. So it's going to...
Now, the interesting thing is, Lee, as people will notice, is that right now when the trucks come around, the green bin and the garbage is one truck.
Yes.
And the recycling is another truck. So green bin is still going to occur on a weekly basis, which means we're still sending the same amount of trucks. Like cutting garbage back to every second week doesn't actually take a truck off the road.
I'm not sure how they did the math.
I don't know either. Now, I'll say that it's...
But that's why they were putting out, I got an email from a regional councillor today about the plan, how they were going to put this plan together, and that it was going to be debated, discussed, if you will, at Thursday's meeting for the region. So maybe all this stuff will come out. There's obviously a presentation going to be made by staff that will explain this, and you can bet they will be questioned on things just like that, on the mathematics of it all. The Father's Day message I saw, I wrote it down because I wanted to remember it. You read and hear all kinds of trite messages, and there's nice little poetry and cards and things like that. But there was one that I did see on, and it was on Niagara 411, and it says, a father, a son's first hero, a daughter's first love. I thought that was cool. Corny, yes, definitely corny, but very, very cool. We are open for business, phase 2. To repeat, I don't know what is happening in Niagara Falls with regard to official patio designations. Now, there are a lot of places, especially in the tourist areas of Niagara Falls, casino areas, etc. There are already a lot of patios. But City of St. Catharines is planning this to ostensibly help the downtown, and that is to shut St. Paul Street down between William Street and Carlisle Street, starting at 4:30, I think they said, on Friday.
It's 3 p.m.
3 p.m., I'm sorry, I apologize. 3 p.m. on Friday until 11 o'clock on Sunday. So there you go.
All right. Now, Lee, want to bring somebody in here. Tiffany is involved with the 3 Live crew in Niagara Falls, based in Niagara Falls.
We've talked about Tiffany a lot, yeah.
Yeah, doing great charity work all across the Niagara region, and she's hopping on the 411.
Super. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi. Can you see me? Okay. I had a little bit of a problem with the audio.
Well, we can see you just fine. The reason I lean sideways is I have a camera in front of me and it's just blocking your face. But as far as the quality, we got you.
Cool.
What's going on?
Oh, so we've been doing lots. 3 Life Crew Niagara has been raising the awareness and the attention of the unsheltered here in Niagara. And we just recently had a rally out in front of the library in Niagara Falls. Just this past weekend. Actually, it was amazing. We had a great turnout. We're fighting for the rights of our unsheltered during the heat also, you know, given the circumstances with the affordable housing, as well as fighting for the unsheltered rights for water fountains and misting stations and some community, or should say paid professionals to start coming out a little longer than their designated hours.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say we need more resources out there. As far as I know, there's a couple out there, but you know, Niagara's a big city, and there's a lot of unsheltered people here that need more than an 8-hour shift, right? Our groups and my volunteers are out there literally 24 hours, 7 days a week, providing the basic necessities of life to our unsheltered. We've gotten to know most of the unsheltered by name at this point.
And what were the specific asks that you wanted the city to do?
Oh, I've been, so I just found out that St. Catharines actually has a cooling station yesterday, being one of the hottest days of the season so far. St. Catharines has a cooling station that was open from 11 till 7, which is awesome because, that's when the sun goes down is when it's the hottest, right? I find. Yesterday, our cooling station in Niagara Falls that I've been advocating for is only open at its convenience, if that makes any sense. And it's also only
we had a freeze.
I know most of our guys. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Ours is only open from 11 till 3 p.m. and it's also only on specific days that I guess the city finds that it's convenient enough on whether it's hot or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've been advocating that it's stay a full-time shelter.
Yeah, it seems like something for the course of the summer that it should be there.
It's a constant fight. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult considering the library is not even open for the public. Basically, everybody in Niagara already knows that the library is pretty much where the unsheltered seem to hang out, so it makes its best.
Have you received any response? A recent response, Tiffany?
No, the response I got actually from one of the city council members. That's supposed to be on the homeless board there. I reached out to him, on several occasions, and he says, unfortunately, I don't know how to help you. And I was like, what? And then he said, well, we're opening the splash pad soon. Why don't maybe that might help? And I don't know whether to take that as a sarcasm or an actual serious thing, right? And then a couple of the other city council members have been doing their extreme best to help me. But again, it's not a city. I'm starting to learn here that it's not a city issue; it's a regional issue.
I was going to ask you about that. If you had approached your two Niagara regional councillors for Niagara Falls, because a couple of them.
Yes, yeah, I have. I have.
Okay.
I have, and unfortunately, I had when we had our rally, Wayne Gates actually came out, huge sport. Didn't stay very long, mind you. It was extremely hot. We were there from 11 to 1. He stayed about an hour.
Well,
and it was his.
And Wayne's provincial as well. He's an MPP. So that's the provincial. The problem is, Tiffany, when there's this going on, there are almost too many layers for you to have to cut through. But eventually, I'm convinced that your voice will have an impact, because you guys have been doing a great job.
Well, you know what? It's gotten to the point now where, like last night, we had about 7 unsheltered in front of the library last night. A couple of our guys have blisters so bad. I have pictures of this, and it's sad because they also don't have shoes. So when you're walking on a heated cement, no shoes, your feet get blistered too, right? I asked them when the last time somebody was around. They said, oh, when one of your crew members came by and brought us water. I said, what? So the paid professionals, as we will say, they know where the unsheltered migrate. They know where the unsheltered migrate. They know where they stay. They know where they are at night. They know where they are. They don't really move. Mm-hmm. They stay in one. I was there at 9 o'clock. None of them had blankets. None of them had pillows, because from my understanding, every morning somebody's removing those pillows and blankets.
Stealing them?
I don't know where. Mm-hmm. I've been told the city removes them, but yeah.
Okay.
So that being said, and then I asked them about if they knew about the cooling station or like the cooling station in the back. They said no, they didn't know. I said, well, you guys can go in there. Well, it was closed, obviously, at 9 o'clock at night, and even during the day, like most of them don't have cell phones. They don't know. So I felt like I've been beating my head against a brick wall the last couple months, since April, since Out of the Cold closed. And now I'm done being silent, because at this point,
silence is not necessarily golden.
Right?
Yeah. We're gonna move on in a sec, Tiffany, but is this something that has been affected at all by the COVID situation of not wanting people to gather in a particular place, or do you think that's had an impact on the hours that the place is open, or is it not a factor?
Well, I don't think at this point it actually matters. I mean, this is human life, right? This started in April when Out of the Cold closed. So they knew, like whoever knew that was a part of the pilot project knew that this was going to happen eventually. There should have been a plan of action in place already. There shouldn't be a tent city. There shouldn't be a need for water. Irrelevant. I mean, we're giving, I know this is going to sound bad, and I don't mean it to sound bad, but we're giving free coffees and free water, and free hotel stays to our frontline workers. And we have homeless people, unsheltered, that were from Out of the Cold, that would love to have a sheltered room, that would love to have water, would love to have a coffee, the same. But I mean, I know some of our guys, they look, a little different, and they get treated very, very, very disrespectfully. But anyways, to keep a long story short, we're going to be having another rally.
Okay. In
Niagara Falls this Sunday. So the June 28th, I think it is. Again, the same time, 11 to 1. And we've partnered up with Welland. They're going to be holding theirs this Saturday. June 27th, and I think that's who's actually you're going to be speaking with soon.
Okay. So, well, check in with us again next Monday. Let us know how it went. I have full confidence that you will accomplish some of your goals, and for everything that you and the crew have been doing over the past number of months, thank you very much. The community appreciates it, believe me.
Well, our goal is a misting station, a full-time cooling station, and 2 water fountains.
There we go.
And more.
We have quantified it. Misting, cooling, 2 fountains. Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and affordable housing, mind you, but that's for everybody, right?
I understand. Thanks, Tiffany.
No worries, thanks.
Awesome. That's a kind of conversation that moves mountains sometimes. And to her and the crew, bottle drives and everything, by the end of the summer they're going to be just totally exhausted, these folks. But their heart's in the right place for sure. And just look at the kind of day that we have right now. Heat warnings in effect. Check the corner of the screen. You know, we're going to be sitting up around 37, 38 degrees or higher as far as the humidex is concerned. And people that don't have a place to go to get relief need a place to go to get relief.
And Lee, this is Madison. Madison, say hi to Lee.
Hey.
Hi, Madison. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. And what can we do for you today?
So, kind of just jumping on to Tiffany's point, I'm from Welland, and Welland actually does not have a cooling station whatsoever. And I have been told that is COVID related because our typical cooling stations would be run by city facilities, which are closed due to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So over the weekend during the heat wave, there was absolutely nowhere in Welland for anyone to go to get any type of water, shelter, or anything like that, which I just think is awful. It's terrible. So I kind of partnered up with Tiffany and I reached out to her and I said, we need to do something in Welland. I mean, keep the momentum going. We need them to open something here for these people.
And who have you have you had some conversations with officials in Welland?
I only started this a few days ago, so I've reached out to a few people. Okay. So I've reached out to Brian Green, who has advocated for an out of the cold program in Welland as well, because we currently do not have an out of the cold program either. And I've reached out to Tiffany's group. I've tried to reach out to the city of Welland by emailing the generic council email. I'm sure I'll probably look for something. I'm still kind of, trying to initiate the process, but I've also banded together to have a rally on Saturday from 11 to 1 outside of City Hall in Welland. I think a huge issue is a lot of people don't even realize that we don't have these things in place, because you hear about the falls and you hear about St. Catharines, but I think we just forget that we don't have one at all. So
it's true. It's true. There are municipalities here that don't get the flash and dash and shining lights that might be allotted to others. So make sure that you get all your information. You probably have already done that.
Yeah, starting to try to get as much as I can.
Yeah, make sure you get it all out there, and make sure that Nick at Niagara 411 has it and all the details and all that stuff, and we'll share it like crazy for you, and hopefully you'll touch base with us again when we do this a week from today and fill us in on whether there's been any progress or not.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So good luck to you. It might be a little bit cooler on Friday than today, but at least, well, if it is hot, it'll certainly help support your message, though, won't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Thank you for calling us. Okay. See ya. All right. A couple of young ladies working hard to help people here in Niagara. We hope it's a success. And again, municipalities have had some hard decisions to make, and some of them Debatably, there's always sides. Do we open this? Do we let people come in? Do we not? Do we close it? The COVID thing, and but yeah, we don't want people suffering on the street because of heat or cold, for that matter, when the time comes. Kevin, Jack,
Yes.
we are just about ready to put a wrap on this present for the day.
I think you're right, Lee. I think we're there.
And again, thank you to our partners, the 411, fueled by Gales Gas Bars Limited, powered by WeeStreem, housed by Fiddler's Pour House, hosted by yours truly, and to you people that participate and to help pass on the information, to help us receive the information and then help depart it. It's all it's that catchphrase, we're all in this together. Well, that's kind of the deal with this show as well. And I hope you will come back and do it all again with us together next Monday at 10 a.m. on the 411. I'm Lee Sterry. Have yourself a great week.